Okay guys, Bondo here. Kyle and Logan are here. Spray foam. Our little shepherd's hut hunting camp here. We got the rig running. I'm not sure if we're gonna put heat in there today or not, but they're getting everything prepped. This is their info. Central New York area. If you haven't seen some of my other videos, these guys do a really good job. Check it out. They got a nice setup here. Let's get to the video. I'm going to show you how they do it. I'm going to spray this little cabin that I'm building. Hunting camp, shepherd's wagon, tiny house, whatever you want to call it. Thanks for watching. Gotcha. There's the hose. Hey guys, Bondo here. So I'll kind of talk you through what's going on here. This is Logan from Kyle and Son Spray Foam. And he's gonna be spraying this, my little hunting cabin that I'm building here, shepherd's hut, and we're using closed cell spray foam on this project. Kyle and Logan don't spray anything but closed cell foam. They do not do the open cell foam. We live in Central New York, and we have similar weather to like Ontario, Canada. We get real cold weather, and they just feel that the closed cell is a better product for our area, and they work generally in Central New York. What Logan's doing here is he sprays a little cookie on the floor, and he's checking his equipment to make sure the foam's mixing properly and it's coming out of his tip the way he wants it. And they always do that, guys. Every job that they do, they'll spray that little cookie on the floor. Now what he's doing here, guys, he's getting some foam behind this tubing. I got some 12-volt wiring that's running in this tubing. It's all it is PEX tubing. I just threw it in the wall. I do a lot of radiant heat work, and I always have a lot of PEX laying around. So I ran my 12-volt stuff inside this PEX line. So he sprayed in behind there because we were kind of worried about the lines pushing out this Luan. The way I framed this really light, I just used 2x3s with some purlings and some Luan, and it created a gap behind the stud. So we were a little bit nervous that spraying in behind all that tubing was going to push the Luan out and create like a bubble on the outside. So I went outside and checked it, and the way he lightly sprayed behind there kind of was a good idea, just to keep it from, he didn't really hit it heavy, and he let it sit a little bit so it hardened up, and I went out and checked it, and it worked pretty good. So he's just going along, he's spraying the top here, filling it in, and he's got a good technique of getting this pretty close to the surface without having to cut a bunch of foam off. You'll see here in a little bit, he's got a helper, and he'll scrape everything down so that it's flush with the studs. But here he's shooting for, this wall assembly is about 3 1/4 inches thick, right around 3 to 3 1/4. So he's shooting for about 2.5 to 2 3/4 thick here, which is what we want here. So this spraying this, if you was to spray this 3 inches thick, this would make this wall 300 times stronger. That's racking strength. So this is what Logan told me. I don't know this information, but I believe these guys know what they're talking about. And he said every inch of spray foam that you spray into a wall assembly like this will add 100% strength to the building assembly. So each inch, so if he's spraying pretty much close to 3 inches thick, you can figure this is 300 times stronger than if it was just an open studded wall. And that's kind of important for this build. That's one of the main reasons I went with spray foam, was I wanted a real good insulation value, but also this will tighten this structure up a lot. It'll add a lot of racking strength to this build, which is going to be going down the road. So you know, I'm nervous about the thing bouncing around. So I did put a lot of metal brackets in there. You can see down at the bottom and at the top I put hurricane ties and everything else. But this spray foam is going to do more than all that metal would do. And the way this is built, that gap you can see right there behind the stud, he's actually getting spray foam in behind that gap too. So very little thermal bridging to this build, and also that foam tying in behind those studs is actually locking all the foam together, which is tying the foam together, which creates a big, almost a big header. And here's Logan again hitting in behind this tubing. You know, just hitting that real quick and let that dry, just so we don't, like I said, get that bubbling effect. If you see these corners, guys, I framed them open so that that foam's going to go right into that corner. I didn't box my corners in, so I had a void there. You don't want to do that. You want to leave everything open so they can get their foam in behind it. Here he is again getting behind our tubing, which is good. I like the way he did that. He knows what he's doing. He's got the Buzz Lightyear suit on too, which I really like. That thing is cool. So I was videotaping this, guys. I had a mask on as well. They let me use one of their masks, so that was nice. I got some good footage, up close footage of how they spray this, and I think it's coming out really nice. I'm real happy with it when they were done. He's just making sure all this tubing is good and coated behind there. I didn't want this tubing to lay against the wall because I was afraid it would condensate if it didn't have foam behind it. So I kind of grooved those into the studs to get them away from the luan so they had foam behind it. I did not want that tubing having cold on one side and then running into my hot, where the electrical boxes, it would be warm air and you could get condensation. So that was real important to me. So I pointed that out to Logan before we started, just to make sure we were on the same page. And he definitely knew what I wanted because he did it perfect. Come out real nice. And there's his helper, Zach. He's got that spud bar. And in a minute you'll see what he's going to do with that thing. He'll go back and start scraping things down with that spud bar. You got to let the foam cure a little bit before you can scrape it, but you don't want to wait too long.
I can get one.
I don't know what they're doing here, but he's getting around my, that's where all my wires come in. I got a panel box there. All my conduits go into that little panel box. That's all 12 volt stuff, guys, coming through the red tubing. That's how I did that. They also taped everything off really nice. They put plastic on the floor, taped everything off so I didn't get spray foam all over my floor and everything. I'm not sure how long I'm going to have this floor just be painted. I might cover it up eventually, but there, he's just hitting over everything. You can see where it bubbles up over the tubing. I think that's what he was just saying. You could tell that it was coming out over the tubing. It wasn't going behind the tubing and pushing out. So that was good to see that. He just mentioned that to me. You can see how he fills in the bottoms. then just lays it right in there. And he lets that sit a little bit, and then he hits it again. Lets it expand, and then he'll hit it again. I'll speed the video up here, guys. Pretty much the same thing. He just keeps spraying, filling her in, spraying in behind everything, filling it in. Some info. I talked to Logan a little bit. I didn't get it on camera, but I picked his brain a little bit about some certain things with spray foam. I know on the internet there's been people having trouble with spray foam, getting moisture into their wall assemblies. They're doing what's called a flash and bat, which you know, they're building these barn dominiums and these pole barn houses, and they're spraying, you know, their closed cell spray foam in there, and getting an air seal, and then putting like a fiberglass insulation in there. And these guys don't do that, guys. You know, we live in a colder climate, like I said earlier, and they don't. They just don't believe in that. He would rather spray an extra inch in a wall assembly than you know, for the benefit of the fiberglass. It's not really a good idea, he said, to try to spray a couple inches in there and then put fiberglass in there. You're better off just spraying 3 inches in there, and the cost savings isn't really that substantial to use the fiberglass. So that's just some information. I know there's been a lot of people who had issues tearing their walls apart and finding moisture in their wall assemblies, have to rip their whole house apart, right on YouTube. Zach here is scraping down the studs. That's just a horse comb, guys, that he's using. It works really good, but that's all that is a horse comb. They buy them at Tractor Supply for like $3-4, and they scrape down the studs. He has a spud bar that actually I helped him. I spud barred some of this when I wasn't videoing, and they just scrape down the studs with the spud bar, and then he goes back with that horse comb and kind of rakes off all the high spots. And Logan got it pretty good, so there's not a ton that he's got to shave off, because every bit they shave off, that's just waste, so you don't want to have a ton of that. So that's what Zach's doing here. And then he takes this board and he'll run it along the face of the studs and look for high spots. That's what he's doing here. See the high spot right there where one of my tubes was. That'll actually expand a little farther on a tube, so he's going to shave that little high spot down. That's what he did there. Hey guys, we're kind of watching the outside of the Luan between the purlins. I got a purlin here, there's a purlin down in here. We're kind of watching to make sure that the Luan doesn't buckle, like bow out in between the purlins. So I've been coming out here periodically and looking, because that Luan's pretty light gauge and I don't want, you know, buckles. We put some furring strips on this side over here because I had some buckles just because it rained yesterday and the Luan got wet. So I did have some buckling going on right there. I put those just pieces of most of it's larch, just some strips of scrap larch I had, and I screwed it on there just to keep that bubble, flatten that bubble out, because once they're done spraying this, you're never going to move it. I mean, wherever that Luan is, it's going to be there forever. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just keeping an eye on things out here, and so far nothing's really buckling at all, so that's good, because I was worried about that. Make sure you stay to the end of the video, guys. I'm going to pick Logan's brain about how much you can save, what percentage spray foam will actually save you when you build a house on your energy costs. So stay tuned for that. We're just about wrapping things up here. Well, that's about it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. This has been a fun project. I'm not sure how much more I'll be able to do on it every day like I am. We're starting to ramp up for concrete season. I've been doing a bunch of estimates, so I got a lot of Nudura stuff coming up, a lot of flat pours and garages and stuff, all kinds of stuff, radiant heat. So stay tuned for that, and thanks again for watching. See you on the next one.
4 to 5 years, and then what's it save you a percentage?
They say on a conservative note, they would say like 30%, but typically what you'll see is 40%.
That's what I was told, 40%.
And 40% is like what they advocate, like selling us the foam and stuff. They'll tell you, yeah, you're going to save your customers 40%, 40%, 40%. But if you tell them 30%, they're going to be happier because they're going to save 40%.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I told people when I built a house, I'd say you should foam it. Well, that's a lot more money. I said, yeah, for the first 4 years, 5 years. I said, then you get it back. I said, think about what the fuel oil was 15 years ago.
I just paid $2.80 for propane. So if you're building a new place,
I just paid $2.76 or something for diesel, fuel oil.
Yeah, if you're building a new place and you're you're going to foam it, and you budget that into your loans that you're taking out, if you're taking loans out to mortgage it, the amount that the spray foam increases your mortgage will be offset by the monthly amount that you're paying less in heat and air conditioning. So
makes sense.
Really, if you're doing it that way, it pays back damn near right away. You don't really see it because you don't ever have anything other than spray foam if you're building a brand new house with foam in it. But yeah, 30-40% is what they advocate for.
Cool.